Hiya fishy folks, and welcome back to Michael's Fish Room. Today, a virtual subscriber fish room tour. That's right folks, a fish room tour. Grab yourself a healthy snack and beverage. Stand by. Welcome back fishy folks. Before we get started with this tour, and I'd like to explain a couple of things about it, I just want to mention two newer Facebook groups that I am involved with. One of them is called Guppy Knowledge, and that is a group that a few guppy people put together. It's a no BS group, so we're not going to get the "is my guppy pregnant? What kind of guppy is this?" stupid questions. You do have to be from the United States or Canada. We don't want any of the Asian sellers spamming their BS in there either. So if you're interested in guppies and have actual real guppy questions, that's a great place to go. Guppy Knowledge on Facebook. The other group that I'm part of that's a bit more broad and doesn't really just deal with guppies, kind of deals with all tropical fish and even plants, is Tropical Fish and More. And that group was started by my buddy Keith from KJE Aquatics, but I am part of that group as well. So both groups have a great admin team, no nonsense. You know, we're not going to put up with the stupid questions or the dumb answers either. So if you're looking for two new groups, tired of the same old stuff, check out those groups. The last thing I would like to say is my intro. A lovely young lady, I think she's 15, created 3 different intros for me. The second one is today. The first one I released in the last video. If you're a creator and you're looking for someone to do intros or any type of that kind of work, there's a link in my description for an email. Email her, check her out. Her prices are very reasonable and she's very talented. So, alright, so let's talk about the subscriber virtual fish room tour. A few months ago I was contacted by Dave and he's like, you know, I know with COVID you can't travel. Would you like me to record my fish room and then you can do a video on it? And I said, sure. And he sent me the video, but I don't know, I forgot about it, or I didn't see it, or I deleted it by accident. But then he followed up at the end of December, and I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. And he's got a great little fish room. And so he sent me some footage, and I'm gonna show it to you. And then my idea is, if you guys have a nice fish room that you're proud of, and you want to share it, but you're not a content creator, send me an email. The details simply are, if possible, I like it in HD, and I like it well lit so people can see what's going on. So if that's something you're interested in, certainly send me an email at michaelsfishroom@gmail.com, and we can work something out. And I'd love to be able to do fish room tours in person, but with the Rona, I'm not traveling, and even if my company was allowing me to travel, I probably wouldn't be going into people's homes just because I don't want to get sick. And even if I didn't get sick, I don't want to be one of those people that are taking up beds in the hospital. So, anywho, so without further ado, here is Dave's fish room. I hope you guys enjoy it.
I'm going to focus more on the room itself and how it works and how I've got this all set up. I live in the Midwest, so my fish room is in the basement of our home. So obviously when there's no lights in here, it's dark. So first thing we'll talk about is the lighting. There's 2 stages of lighting in this room. It's all controlled by some timers that are over here on the wall. About 5:45 in the morning, obviously it's all dark. This rack here is on a different set of timers, but it coincides with these over here. I just can't control them manually like this. So 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:45, all the lights are out, so this room is pitch black. The little bitty lights come on. These are just 25 watt, I think, incandescent bulbs, and they just kind of begin to get the room lit up a little bit. About 15 minutes later, the main lights come on, and that's these lights there, mostly LEDs by this point. They all started out fluorescent, but I've been replacing them just because I like the light better. They're more reliable. You don't have to deal with the bulbs. So right about 6 o'clock, the main lights come on. Then just a little after 6, this set here comes on. And then at about noon, that process reverses. This set will go out, then the little lights will come on again, the main lights will shut off, and then eventually those will shut off and it'll be dark in here again. And then about 4 o'clock, that process again reverses itself, and then the lights are on for just a little while at night. With the LED lighting, I get a lot of issues with algae and moss. As you can see, I have a lot of tanks that are just full of plants, and that's kind of on purpose, just to help with water quality and stuff. But so that's lighting. Filtration in the room is basically tank by tank. Over where the water is, we're walking forward here a little bit, over where the water's all done, and I'll explain all this in a minute. I have like a Magnum filter down there, but it's just kind of just because I had it, why not use it? But on the other side of this wall, not only is the blower, the air blower over across on that wall, but also on the other side of this wall, there's a small swimming pool filter. I'll show you the filters for it to give you an idea of the size of it here in a minute. But also there's 2 ultraviolet sterilizers, 40-watt ultraviolet sterilizers on the other side of this wall. But on this wall is where all the water issues happen, I guess, for lack of a better term. Every tank in the room is drilled. So every tank in the room has that piece in the back, and that piece can pivot. So I can bring it down to bring the water down, or I can stand it up to keep the water up. And then, of course, all the water comes back through the front of the tank here through these valves. You can see it a little better here. So all the water, fresh water comes in, goes through the tank and then out the back. And then over here in the sump, everything drains into the sump. And then there are 2 big pumps there that pump water either one way or the other way to the racks to keep the tanks full. So if I want to do a water change, all I have to do is hit this switch here where it says drain, and over behind me, we'll go over there in a minute, there's a sump pump, because we, like I said, we live in the Midwest, live in a basement, so we have a sump pump that all the water from this will then drain to. It stops the water from going back to the tanks and just shoves it out the sump pump. So all the water in the tanks, since there's no water coming back into them, will drain just a little bit down. So not only am I changing the water that would fill up the sump, but also about 3 or 4 inches that are in each tank. And then once all that's done, I shut that valve and then can refill all the tanks in the sump with the water that's in this tank and the water that's in this tank. This tank gets its water from this valve right here. That comes directly from the house. So if I want to fill these up, I just hit a switch and that starts the water coming in. If I hit the other switch, it brings the water from this tank down to this tank, fills that up. So I have about 90-ish gallons of water sitting there ready to go. It's treated, but it's not heated other than just being out in the room. The rest of the water is heated by the use of these big heater bars. This one's 1,000 watt. There's an 800 watt one back there. And those are controlled by the 2 controllers, the heating controllers that are right there along that back wall. So that heats not only the water, but it keeps the room pretty warm. In the winter time when we have the furnace running, this room on the ceiling has the main duct for the house in its ceiling, so I can open that and get heated air to come out here in the winter time. Of course, in the summertime when we have the air conditioning going, I gotta have that closed. But right now, for example, this room is probably 90 degrees. I mean, it's pretty toasty in here. The water itself is about 78 in the sump. In the tanks, it probably drops a degree by the time it gets out there, but it's warm in here. So that's how I control all of the kind of the mechanical part of it. If we turn around, this side of the room, I have basically a work area with all the junk that you need and all the stuff that have accumulated over the years. Green beans that Michael showed on his video to feeding plecos. I'll show you the plecos just for fun here in just a little bit, but I feed them green beans, the cheap Walmart green beans, French cut, of course. They love them. Baby fish like the baby cories that I have over there, they love the microworms, so that's what those are, microworm cultures. I also have in that refrigerator blackworms. The angels and the cories spawn. If I start feeding them blackworms, they pretty much spawn on cue. So, and then of course over here, a working sink. This is the filter that I mentioned earlier that is in the swimming pool filter, so it kind of gives you an idea of how big the filter is. I mean, it's not very big, it's for a small pool, but those filters back there are the ones that are for the Magnum. But this is these are probably 4 or 5 times that size, and it keeps the water pretty clean because all of the water that's filtered in this room goes through that. So, and this tank, basically this 40 breeder here is nothing but red cherry shrimp. Most every one of my tanks are species tanks, so this tank has nothing but cherry shrimp. Well, that's kind of a lie. There are also orange crawdads in here, but other than that, they're just cherry shrimp in there. This tank has the featherfin rainbows, which I've also spawned a bunch of. This tank, the 40 breeder, has an African butterfly. Tank next to it has koi angels. And I'll show you some of their offspring here in just a second. So that's what I have in those 40s. If I turn just 180 degrees here, 2 sets of angelfish. These are gold angels, and this set of gold angels just spawned. So it looks like I'll have more of those. The cories that I have down here, the albino cories, have spawned also, and their little babies are in this thing there. Some red and blue Colombian Tetras, which are babies of some parents that I had. These up here are gold angels, and there are a few koi babies still in there, like, you know, there's a few in there from the angels that I just showed. Here are some pearl gouramis that I'm going to spawn. Probably one of my favorite fish. There's the male, there's another male. Absolutely gorgeous. In this tank below, sorry for making you dizzy there, but there are a bunch of blue Neocardinas shrimp. So the other ones are red ones, these are blue ones, and there's a bunch of them in there as well. The tank's behind, if we do another 180, some more baby gold angels. Next door are some more baby koi angels. These are a little younger. Some other things that I've spawned a bunch of are the bumblebee gobies. And if I scoot this over, that's what these are. And then one of the reasons why I started watching Michael were because of the breeding plecos. So these are some baby plecos that I have spawned. That's one tank. There's 3 tanks of them. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy here. Here's another one. I believe that male is fanning eggs. I have to look in there and see. These are some gold, some lemon, blue-eyed plecos. These are not albinos. They're lemon blue-eyed. There's a big male back there. Looks like a female sitting right there and there. And then some more here. There's a ton of snails because I have some pufferfish over there, so I like to keep snails breeding. But there are a ton of medium-sized ones in here too. They just all kind of hiding back there. But so I also have some some blue angels, some Beeline angels. Those are hopefully going to spawn. They have spawned before. So that's the fish room. 46 tanks in all. This rack back here, the last rack, is just a bunch of little baby tanks. And again, these are all hooked into the system as well. 3.5 gallons about. Most of these I bought the frames for and just built them out of cut glass. That one doesn't even have a frame on it. So I use those for baby fish as I have them. So other than that, that's about the fish room. It's kind of been a work in progress. 12 years or so of getting all this built. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Thanks for the availability to show the fish room, Michael. Appreciate it.
Now see, I said hope you enjoyed it. It should have been hope you enjoy it, but I'm an idiot, so I didn't. All right, let's finish that.